Welcome back, everyone. This is it. We have reached the end of Season 2. Of course, this is our Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. reaction commentary series with a longtime S.H.I.E.L.D. fan wants to come back on here and talk endlessly about one of our favorite shows of all time. I'm Alexis, joined by David Francisco, of course, here on the Red Spotlight Entertainment Network. This is so exciting. We cannot believe we're already here. It's pretty close to about a year when we first started. I mean, this is April 2025. The first time we did a S.H.I.E.L.D. reaction was April 2024. So it's kind of, I think, serendipitous that it's going to come circle, I guess, for a full year, what it seems like. And we're not quite finished with Season 2 just yet with this episode, because we do, of course, have Emily B's video, but we cannot do it here because the remainder of the video that we have not finished is over an hour long, and that probably deserves its own follow-up, because like we did with Season 1, in Season 2 we'll do a follow-up episode where we'll react to the rest of her video alongside any bloopers and any other materials that we can get our hands on to kind of wrap up Season 2, because it's going to take that much, honestly, time to really unpack all of that. And before I forget, I do want to take this time to actually point something out. So with Emma specifically, because she did post something in her community. Now, first of all, the video that, by the way, is about to turn a year old. I think at this point may have already turned a year. Let me actually just check. This was published March 9th, yes, 2024. I really do feel, now I'm not sure if at the end of everything we're gonna agree with all of her takes on the show, but on the whole, she's probably done the best job anyone's ever done at really breaking down what exactly makes the best parts of this show work, at least online and in the format in which she's doing this, right? And we should mention, her video in large part was a big reason for why we were like, you know what, let's just do this. Mm-hmm. That was my thinking. And then you were kind of like, yeah, why not? 102,000 views right now. So it's gone a long way. And for those of you who are interested in, well, where's the rest of it? Well, she posted 6 days ago, actually 7 months ago, she did this post, and 3 months ago, whatever. The point is, early 2025 is the target, so I think we're soon-ish. Now, the next video, she posted this screenshot of what it's going to entail. She called it Part 2. What's going to be called Part 2, The Rise and Fall of Marvel TV. And then she put all these chapters. So, introduction. No, so here are the different, chapters. 1, introduction. Who killed Marvel TV? 2, Suspect 1, Ike Perlmutter. 3, Suspect 2, Kevin Feige and Disney. 4, Season 3A. 5, Season 3B, Part 1. 6, and then there was 1. 7, intermission, comics number 2, or comics 2. I guess there were another round of comics. 8, Season 3B, Part 2. 9, the web series. 10, Season 4A. 11, Slingshot, the web series. 12, Season 4B. 13, Season 4C. 14, oh no, Inhumans is real bad. Suspect number 3, Inhumans. 15, Suspect 3, ABC. 16, Season 5A. 17, Season 5B. 18, The Crash. 19, Conclusion. That's 19 little chapters. My understanding is this is all going to be one video? That's insane.
My God.
I can't even begin to imagine how long that was. So again, her target is still early 2025. And then 6 days ago, as a matter of fact, of the recording of this, which would be April 1st, 2025, she posted, very timely, of course, She said that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Video 2 will be longer than the Avengers Doomsday cast announcement. So, if you are aware, of course, Marvel fans, Marvel had an embarrassing situation last week when they were doing the whole names on chairs thing, and it really backfired on them. So, and it's funny, but I can't tell if she's joking. Because based on what if that's going to be one video, 10 hours? Because that's like season 3, 4, and 5, and then there's also all the extra stuff.
That's a lot. Oh my gosh.
I was originally thinking that she was gonna do like splitting them up, like at least do one video for every 2 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea she'd be this ambitious.
I know.
To do that in one video. Which, hey, that's why I mentioned earlier. I've been mentioning for years now. Quentin Reviews. This is the man that did Quentin Reviews. I feel like is who she's getting a lot of inspiration from. He did, I want to say, an 8-hour video on the last season of Victorious.
Okay.
So, and the thing is, like, it's not just on the last season. It's not that much to talk about, but it's more about analyzing the culture and the moment in which it aired in, which is what very much she is doing. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. But if she's able to get it out soon, I mean, we're going to be set for the next year. That's for sure, you know?
Yeah.
So, because like this next stretch that we're going to do in the following week is gonna be the very last we have, and until it comes out. But I'm hopeful. I'm optimistic that it's gonna be out pretty soon. And then it makes me wonder, well, how long is because then that doesn't even get into the last 2 seasons. Which will be very interesting because people have some very, very heated takes on those last 2 seasons. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I wanted to give people an update as far as Emma is concerned, because, well, yeah, because, and yeah, David, we are here obviously for the 22nd episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 2. This is S.O.S. Part 2. As with last week, this was written by Jeffrey Bell, Jed Whedon, and Marissa Tanchero, and the brain trust, obviously, of the show. Directed by Vincent Misiano and Billy Gerhardt. Gerhardt, of course, is a returning director. Huge cast of people, including Clark Gregg, Rhiannon Wayne, Brett Dalton, Chloe Bennett, Ina Castiger, Elizabeth Henstridge, Nick Blood, and Adrian Perlacki. And returning appearances by Kyle MacLachlan as Cal, Henry Simmons as Mac, Deacon Lockman as Jiaying, Ruth Nega as Raina, Jamie Harris as Gordon, Maya Stojan as Agent 33, Luke Mitchell as Lincoln Campbell, Christine Adams as Ann Weaver, Mark Allen Stewart as Oliver, and Blair Underwood as Andrew Garner. As of course with last week, aired on May 12th, 2015, to 3.88 million viewers. Now I can read some of this. So Billy Gerhardt actually directed part 2, which we'll watch today. Vincent Misiano directed part 1. Okay, so I have that clarification. And then here are some notes on the writing of it. On how the different storylines throughout the series led up to this point, executive producer Jeffrey Bell stated that the challenge that we keep seeing is keeping it fresh so it doesn't feel like the same piece of story all season. You want to find a way to mix it up. If this was an HBO show, this would be season 4. And you could look back and go, well, the first season introduced these characters. The second season was more of, oh, Hydra is in S.H.I.E.L.D. And the third season is Skye becoming a superhero. And then getting to the middle of this season, and now we're sort of getting into this Inhuman world. We've tried to make the flavoring different. We've tried to tell different stories with different combinations of the same people, so it doesn't feel like you're getting different versions of the same story every week. Bell also discussed the tag, the end tag of this episode, which, by the way, at some point we need to probably, when this series is over, rank all the end tags. I feel like the end tag for this season might be the most infamous. because you really can't. I don't know if you could ever top what happens at the end of it. Because this finale, let's just put it out there right now. This finale, I feel, is among the best this show ever did, and it leaves you on such a satisfying note until the very last couple of seconds when they pull something that made everybody want to literally break their televisions. I remember watching this with Kyle. I had already seen it, so I was excited to show him this, particularly the ending. When the ending happened, he was literally screaming at the TV. He was pissed. It took him a couple of minutes to calm down, and I'm sure a lot of people felt that way. So I just wanted to put that in there. But Jeffrey Bell also discussed the end tag of the episode, where Simmons is consumed by the Kree monolith weapon, saying, "When we first started talking about the monolith, we knew that it needed to present a threat, and we needed it to demonstrate some of that threat and the promise of more story, because this is going to shock you. We want more people to watch next year because we like when people watch our show." It's easy to kill a character for shock value or whatever, and we did have a number of deaths this season, but I don't think that they were so much for shock value as the hopefully understandable logic of the characters and the stories. We prefer to leave you with something to talk about, to walk away with. This is something that came up in the room. We talked about what it meant. The idea of Fitz and Simmons, who had been one person to become two whole people, come back together, agree to go on a date, and then have this happen, felt beautifully poetic and promises some really intriguing stories next season, which is really what it's all about. We'll talk more about it as we get to it. Some notes about the filming. To film the scene near the end of the episode where Mac cuts off Coulson's arm, Clark Gregg had to physically dive to show him catching a Terrigen crystal on camera, while a mechanical axe was used to cut through a faux arm made up of tripe wrapped around a chicken thigh to give the effect of the arm being cut off. For subsequent scenes, Clark's wardrobe was altered to give the appearance of the missing limb. Notes on visual effects. Bell talked about the visual effects in general throughout the season and in the episodes themselves, saying, "Visual effects are a big part of our show, and some of them are invisible and some of them are very dramatic. And the fact that there's no real planes in our show, and you just accept that the fact that, oh, there's a plane, is pretty cool. We do it because it was our finale. But to their credit, they have had very little turnaround time for any of those effects. The very last shot of the show, with the monolith and Simmons, got approved Saturday. Expanding on that last shot with Simmons, visual effects supervisor Mark Kolpak explained that Henstridge was dragged away from camera on a small sled, with Houdini FX used to simulate the liquid weapon around her. Cool. And then in June 2016, IGN ranked the episodes together as the second best in the series. So there's that. Before we get into the episode itself, do you have any comments, David?
Yeah. There's two. First one's from Serenity. My favorite part of Fitz finishing Hunter's sentence is that we know that's something he only does with Simmons, making him Fitz's other soulmate.
I'd buy it.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, yeah. The friendship between those two is another added benefit, which is why, look, I think ultimately and I know some people may feel differently and have expressed that they feel very differently about Hunter, but Hunter is a character that I really do feel, when you have a cast of characters, when you have an ensemble that you already love, it is tricky when you add in different people into the mix because you're never quite sure if it's going to work out. And luckily for the legacy of this show that we're talking about, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., they did it again and again where people kept coming into the show, and yet I can't think of a single character that joined the team where we were like, what the hell, guys? Like, this is like a joke. No. Every character, for the most part, there are some exceptions, of course, but for the most part, every character had not just a really good introduction, but one that lasted and one that could, not just work with every person in the cast, but add to what was already there, Mm-hmm. And with Hunter, he was, I feel like, and I don't know, I feel like when I remember this season and I recall how people were talking about this season, he was one of the things that people pointed to that said, that really helped to elevate the show from the first season. For one, he's the kind of like, I think, scoundrel-like personality that people wanted to have in a S.H.I.E.L.D. first season. So I feel like that in some way the writers were kind of responding to that and like, okay, maybe we can work with a character like that. And they ended up doing that very much so. But with that also came a lot of risk, right? With the whole ex-wife, she-beast, hell-beast thing, and then Bobby coming in here. Like, we can think of many other shows where they brought in not one, but two new characters that have like a love on and off thing, on and off again, off on again thing, and it kind of brought things down, or it was like annoying, or it was a distraction, or it kind of took away from things. On paper, I feel like this is one of those things where, in hindsight, if I was reading the season instead of watching it, I feel like maybe this would be one of those things where we're like, are we sure we want to do this? But to the credit of both actors, and of course all the people involved to make this show happen, at no point did it ever feel hokey or phony or inauthentic. Mm-hmm. And it built as it went along. Now, what's really good about these two characters is that they very much are the most important thing to each other, but it's not as if like they were obsessed with each other and nobody else. Each of these characters had built really strong relationships with other characters on the show that made them feel like full-fledged members. Of course, there's history between Hunter and Mac, but throughout the season, we see, Hunter have moments with literally everybody. I think the closest people that he's gotten, along with this season definitely Fitz and Coulson. And then May, although that's a bit more contentious than it is friendly. And with season 3, it is going to continue to go along with that. Bobby, on the other hand, of course, has had moments with Coulson, but she's definitely grown close with Simmons, May, and a little bit with Skye. So I really do feel like these two characters added so much. If nothing else, for the sake of atmosphere. But they definitely brought a lot in terms of character. And again, I truly don't know what happened. Maybe there was like this pep talk, or maybe I think this also plays into it. And I'm referring to what we have been discussing, which was there is a noticeable elevation in terms of the quality of performances. And that isn't to say that the cast's performances in season 1 was not good enough or good. They very much were strong. But there is something noticeably like elevated, right, when it comes to season 2 and a lot of these actors. And we also have to do the math on this. I feel like season 2 is the largest ensemble they've ever had. Because it's not just the main like S.H.I.E.L.D. agents. Like, there were a lot of characters this season. And not that there won't be a lot more characters in the following seasons, but this was a lot. I mean, the main S.H.I.E.L.D., the real S.H.I.E.L.D., Hydra, the Inhumans, like, we're talking about like 4 different groups here. Some, and I'm not even including Ward or 33 in the whole Hydra thing at some point. So it's a lot of things to juggle around. So, yeah, with Hunter and Fitz, yeah. Sorry that I went on a rant there, but thank you for the question. David, go ahead with the next one.
Serenity also put. I'm pretty sure David was talking about before what Whitehall did to Jiaying in the late 80s. It was mentioned that villagers back in the 40s would sacrifice themselves so that she could heal and live forever. Yeah, that was about me asking how she's been living for so long.
Right.
That clearly someone would have to like sacrifice themselves for her or something like that.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I'm pretty sure anyone could have assumed that before even seeing this episode and all that. So, or like at the moment she grabs someone. So.
Yeah, because I think you did ask, like, you were curious, like, did they ever state on the show specifically how it was that her powers worked?
No, it was just more so like if they ever mentioned or
they did,
yeah. Which
they mentioned it, but I mean, it's like one of those things where it's like, well, they mentioned it by like, well, every few.
Yeah, it's in this episode. Every few decades, someone.
Yes, it is. It is.
One of the elders.
It's in this one, yeah.
Would
We're about to watch it right
sacrifice
now.
themselves for her, and
Yeah.
Before the whole Whitehall thing, she would actually feel bad for doing it. She wished them to stop, but they want her to keep going and all that to keep protecting their people. But afterwards, she doesn't care.
Yeah, and then what you asked was also really interesting too at one point, because you were like, did they kill the village to supply the lives that Jiaying needed to revive herself? You know, that's a very interesting question, because in season 7, when Jiaying gets killed by Nathaniel Malik, Korra was like, she needs a little help, but her body can heal herself. It's interesting. I feel like that is confirmation enough that by Kel being able to stitch her back up, she was able to heal herself, I guess. But there were some things that she couldn't come back from. So in season 7, the other Jiaying, her neck got snapped, and I guess that was it. She couldn't come back from that. But because in my head I had this question: well, if Whitehall harvested her organs, he obviously kept her organs and absorbed, or maybe not. Maybe it was he absorbed the power, he became young, and then I feel like he threw it all away, the body. So when they disposed of the body, did they also dump her organs alongside with her? Because I've always had this question in my mind. Okay, so Cal, obviously the answer doesn't matter. This is just a curious question. It's like, so Cal stitched her back together without her organs, and so that her power regenerated her organs, and then she came back to life? Or did he literally stuff the remainder of the organs back in her anatomy and then seal her back together? And then that's how it worked? Like that's just a technical question that I have that I don't feel this, unless I'm missing something, was ever really quite confirmed. Right?
Yeah, it is kind of questionable because
it's a gray area.
Yeah, because like, what exactly does she need to stay alive or come back to life? Or, I mean, unless we're just supposed to assume that she was nearly dead when he found her and just kind of left her in a ditch, and and then when he put her back together, you know, again, still alive, he just grabbed someone random, put it next to her, and he's like, absorb him, and then they just had to keep doing that until she was fully healed. Because, and I mean, if it was like a villager's amount of people that died, I'm assuming he just never got all of her organs in, and she just kept absorbing until everything was back to normal.
That could be a possible theory, that he killed them. I mean, my previous understanding would be that, well, he killed them all because where's his daughter? And he just went apeshit. Yeah, maybe or it could have been a situation hilariously where it was like killing two birds with one stone. I kill all these people because my daughter's gone, but hey, I have the lives that I need to revive my wife. Maybe that's what happened. I don't know. I always took it that somehow he was able to bring her back. She healed herself, and then they went on a killing spree together. Okay, shall we begin?
Mm-hmm.
Previously on Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
So right off the bat, we're gonna get with this. I feel like this is one of my favorite scenes of the whole season, definitely of the show, because I think Coulson's about to really peel back the onion here, as Peter would say.
You're a good man. I believe that. I do. You got a big heart, full of love. You wear it on your sleeve. Sky got that from you.
No. She didn't care about human life anymore. Even I had to change myself to be worthy in her eyes. I thought I could fix her. If I could just make good on my promise.
Yeah, we weren't going to talk over that. I mean, that was
no,
so
not
good.
even a little bit. I'm so sorry, but I feel like that answered a couple of our questions. I love, okay, the way that he delivered that line supplied a village full of them. Maybe that's why that happened, right? To help her heal, perhaps.
And getting these things off? Or a face?
But that was funny.
Yeah.
It's always funny. I don't know if you've caught on when somebody gets knocked out. It's just, especially with the way that they do it on their show sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, this may be the first time Matt called her Tremors, by the way. I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah. But also, when people get knocked out, when it comes out of nowhere, it's always funny. Remember Eternals?
Yes. Everybody was laughing at that part of the movie.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I'm about intentions right now. I came here because I need your skills.
I can't use my powers. They lock these inhibitors.
God, what a scene there, dude. I mean, it's like, I don't know, people have mixed feelings about the makeup that he's in. That didn't matter. It did not matter. Kyle MacLachlan just like, here, let me show you how to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Great sequence there. But also, again, a really good moment for Coulson there, because Coulson's really the only one that was able to see through him. That's how well he knows Sky.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, that conversation between you two is like a long time coming. I feel like it's not really. It is not shown at all throughout the season and all that. But I think everyone knows that some part of them knows like the tragic story behind him and all that. Like the more and more they find out about him, and yeah, so yeah, this is just like a great build up to this conversation between the two of them, and. Yeah, and I like that little confirmation. It's like she's the closest to family as I'll ever get.
Do you like rare gems?
So,
Mm-hmm.
You don't think you can bribe me? It's not a bribe. It's an incentive.
She actually is good at playing evil, though.
mm-hmm.
Honestly, like it works. By the way, I love that double take of Lincoln. Was like, did this just happen?
Are we the baddies?
Did you just? Basically, yeah.
You get Manhunter on the line? We'll need every asset we've got to shut these Inhumans down.
I tried, sir. Their team's already gone dark.
So it's interesting because they don't actually leave until they come back to the base after this, which just goes to show you how much shit actually goes down. And remember, like, we're watching this part 2, like, after having over a week off between this and part 1. What made S.H.I.E.L.D.'s finale so electrifying was how much of a sugar rush it was, right? Like, there was just so much happening all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, like, I feel like what S.H.I.E.L.D. always had, where the MCU films never really quite got there, if you exclude, of course, the Guardians movies, but what Guillermo del Toro calls, instead of saying eye candy, he likes to say eye protein, basically, right? And the show right here always had that going for it. It was able to really make you feel exhilarated, but at the same time, it had plenty of substance. It had plenty of character. More than just likable personality.
Mm-hmm.
assholes.
It's funny.
They had us going on that one. And we don't mention it enough, but again, the editing, like right here, definitely delivers.
All agents, converge on the south corner. I'll meet you there.
Do not lower your guard until you see my face.
Can I just say,
Understand the agent left.
what May pulled there, that shit was cold, but damn,
That's good.
come on. Like, and she knew exactly what to do, and it was a long time coming. You know what? The hell with this. Don't lower your guard until you see my face.
For a second, I thought that was actually May smiling.
I know. Yeah. That's how convincing it can be.
That's funny.
It is Ming Na Wen, but like,
Stay with me. Bobby, stay
jeez. God. And then this. Oh my God. Why does this feel so good? Oh God. This really feels satisfying to see. God, I wish May could have seen that.
Oh my gosh. Actually, in seeing Amon's reaction, I think his words were, yeah,
Get fucked!
which was great.
Please, Polly.
Oh, we need to get her out of here. I'm losing her.
But also, the like insane that Ward was just like non-hesitant, just like he just went for it, like shooting her, thinking it was May and all that. Because
Yeah.
I think before it would
In
have been
fairness
like,
to him, May is lethal. Like,
Oh,
you
yeah,
want
for
to get
sure.
her out.
but I feel like before he would have been straight up just like, I got you. Like he would have said something and then tried to kill her and all that.
She just killed them.
but
All of them. Didn't
not
even
this
think
time.
about it.
Yeah, I thought my mom was bad when she started watching Fox News.
I fell for the whole act.
See, it's lines like that. Like, how can you ever make me hate a show like this? Come on, I thought my mom was bad when she started watching Fox News.
It did not. The beacon's on the sat room down and to the left. Go get started, try to hack the code and turn it off.
Wait, where are you going?
In case anyone ever doubted that the show had a point of view, it was right there.
Yep.
Sir? Good news. I modified my field generators to act in unison as a quantum field disruptor.
Great. You're saying you found a way to shut down Gordon's teleportation ability?
Well, now my news sounds less good.
Oh, sorry.
The disruptor should keep him contained to a single space.
I'll take any.
That's good enough.
That's good enough. I mean,
That's
with
wait,
a
that's
short
good.
amount of time, that's really impressive. Come on.
1, 2, 3. Let's get her prepped for surgery. CBC with Diff Chem 20, portable chest X-rays,
think-
cross and type for 2 units.
Yes, doctor.
I mean, I know he has to be on the boat and all, but like, Cal could have helped here, right?
Yeah. But
It's just the
Um,
time crunch
what-
of it all wouldn't work.
but I believe he isn't in the condition to do so. He's still recovering, right? They're still getting him ready. Because he just asked, can we get Cal ready for a mission?
That's true.
And Simmons kind of has us covered, I would say. Like, I mean, I'm not saying that they would not accept his help, but I do feel maybe he isn't 100% right now.
Yeah. Okay. It would have been
like,
cool though.
Yeah, it would have. Yeah, for sure.
I wonder if they had like any ideas about
The
that.
fan room. Where are the ship's air, sir?
I'm slow.
I was getting through.
It was. What makes it funny, of course, is that she's right. She was getting through to him.
Yeah,
and then
But also, Meg is also right. It's like I'm not taking a chance with these power people. I'm sorry.
he's after what they pulled. Yeah.
Mhm.
Which, by the way, this is not the first or last time that Mac has cut off a conversation like that. He'll do that famously to Virgil in season 5 when they're in the future. You'll see it when we get there over there.
Do good, Melinda. And get home safe.
And in the midst of all the action, again, we're not forgetting our characters here. We're getting some really well-earned moments here between May and Garner, and then this, of course. This especially.
Well, watch your back because I just saw Hunter with Bobby and it made me realize that. Well, it's just that we never really spoke about what you said to me at the bottom of the ocean.
It's one of those things where it's like, I feel like this is the moment where she's come to the realization, oh my God, maybe I do love this guy. Because I believe her when she had said earlier on in the season, I never thought of us as more than friends.
I normally voice my doubts about bringing him on this
But
mission.
I understand your concerns, man.
you know how people can, I don't know, fool themselves, maybe not realize something, maybe not think about something until it's pointed out to them, and like, and then of course with them coming back to you know, on friendlier terms.
It's his concern for Sky.
And this also just shows like
something's happening with the S.O.S. signal from the boat. I thought it was
with
breaking up. Like
obviously the love that Hunter has for Bobby, and how that shook May to call her ex, and of course that shook Simmons too. So it's like it's everybody's feeling it. And of course, let's not forget of you know, this show does a great job of relationships. Of course, you know, Fitzsimmons, but we began the episode with like, well, the love story, and then also the fall of that love between Jiaying and Kel. It's a lot of it all wrapped around here.
Yeah, so good thing you pointed that out. Because even I was like, weird timing on Simmons here, but
Right.
you know, she mentioned that she saw Bobby and Hunter together and all that. But then you just mentioned it too. It's like even May wanted to talk to her ex-husband,
and
I'm
that's
like,
May.
oh,
We're talking about here. It's
yeah,
May.
If
It's
she's
like
feeling
she's
this, then of course Simmons is gonna feel it too. Yeah.
Yeah. This is what all of these small character moments here help to make this an amazing episode. It's not just the nonstop action that's happening here. We're getting some well-earned moments. And sure, I guess if you're not thinking about all of that, you would think like, well, maybe not the best place to bring that up. Well, it has been a year since the bottom of the ocean happened. So it's been a long time.
This is a family matter. My wife, my responsibility. You just find those crystals and leave her to me.
You brought him.
I love how May never fails to say "I told you so," but whatever. It is risky bringing him on here, but I mean, fine.
Yeah.
It's Gordon, right?
God, Mac is on one.
I'm the guy who kills Gordon.
I gotta say, I think this was the episode that really sold me on Mac, because I feel like, oh, this guy can be pretty damn badass.
Come on, No Eyes. Show yourself.
No Eyes.
Yeah.
No eyes.
Even he points it out too. It's like, come on, you could have done better, Mac.
I failed you. I failed you both. But we can turn this around. It is not too late.
You know, the scary thing is, and I say that's scary in terms of like the world that we live in. By the way, where the hell did Gordon come from?
I know, right?
Where's Daisy?
It's like,
Where's Daisy?
it's, I mean, he can teleport back and forth, and maybe he sensed that Cal was nearby. So there is that. But
These crystals, if he breaks them.
Everybody's a statue.
I read a comment, I think today or yesterday, that said, the older I get, the more I begin to understand Jiaying.
With the axe, ricochets in here will be bad, and trust me, you will miss.
Right.
Because of the cruelty that happens in the world, I guess. Not that I agree with the whole extermination part of it.
The physicist is completely understandable.
God, look at Fitz go, man. Look at him go. Look how far he's come.
Yeah. Also, I didn't want to talk over Jiaying and Cal talking and all that. It was great. But the moment that with Mac fighting Gordon, yeah,
Yeah,
Gordon could have teleported with the box, which is,
but he couldn't get to it.
no, but I mean, he literally had it. Like, he was able to open it though. Like, I feel like that's plenty of time for him to grab it and teleport it.
He got distracted. He could have, but then he looked up.
Yeah,
And then he got.
I think
hesitated.
in that moment, what they should have done is actually have Mac grab a gun and try to shoot him, and then he teleports, and then we can actually see like the bullet ricocheting, causing some damage and all that. And then when he has that line later on with Coulson coming in, he's like, "Hey, you need a gun, or need more bullets, or something like that." Then he could have brought up that line like he did with him, and then it would have worked. But yeah.
Head still hurts? I'm sorry. I didn't know. You didn't know.
Also, I talked about like a lot of the action scenes, but
I know, but
these
they're
were all
great. That was amazing what we just saw.
Science, biatch.
Looks like it's batter up, Director.
God damn. I almost feel bad for Gordon.
I know, right?
No, put them on the jet and get ready for takeoff.
I can't let you leave with those crystals.
You can, and you should. It's the only way to protect our people.
This is a show, and I feel so far there have been very few moments where there's been green screen that's as obvious as this. But I do want to compare it, obviously. As obvious as this is,
Think of how
have you seen some of the movies that have come out in the last couple of years?
Yeah.
Like, this is leagues, bounds above what we've seen.
It's really bad when they do like a full body shot of Jiaying, but as long as they stick to like these kind of shots, these close-up shots, or like mid-body shots, it's perfectly fine, especially for a show.
And I think they do the full body because they wanted to show that Quinjet, because that's going to play a part in the next couple of scenes here. But yeah.
So strong. What do you...
Yeah, if she's doing that to her own daughter, she's gone, man. She's far gone.
Oh my god, that's...
Yeah.
As she's looking, holy shit.
See, that looked good.
Yeah. But that's only because
this is when she was standing in front of it, where it was like...
Yeah, it was really bad, but there's not really...
Yeah.
It was just a CGI, so it doesn't look that bad or anything. That's like...
Yeah. And then this here? I swear to God, when I saw this, I was screaming. I was like, they did not. They did not. And then a slow reveal. And I was like, oh, God, thank God. I thought that they did that to Fitz. Which, by the way, hilariously, I think Fitz does end up dying, getting impaled, doesn't he? Huh. Interesting. And then this here, and I wonder, the whole time I'm thinking, oh God, what's happening? What's happening?
Yeah.
And then.
I remember seeing that, and I was just like, holy shit, they just did that.
Please. Stop.
Oh, wow. Her scars were opening just by doing that. That's...
I did not notice that.
Yeah.
Before. He basically just like crushes her. And from that she can't come back from. Which also would explain, in season 7, she couldn't come back from her neck being snapped. And this is just, oh God. Where was Kyle's Emmys?
Right?
Jesus.
Convinced Mac not to quit.
Yeah, well, he kind of owed me after cutting off my hand without asking.
He respects you. But he still holds a deep distrust of all the alien artifacts you've encountered.
That's why I put him in charge of them.
Not a bad compromise.
Yeah.
Actually, to keep him to stay on.
July 2nd, 1988.
Maybe one of the final times we hear that theme in the background. The original Sky theme. One of the final times, not the final time. But we won't hear it for a while. A long while, I think.
Looks like you're having trouble letting go. Hate to see that, my friend.
I don't know. I'm having a good time from where I'm standing.
She drowned with her lungs filled up with blood.
The way he just backs away.
I was just trying to help.
The organization disintegrated.
I want more names.
Which is far from true. There's a lot of Hydra heads out there. They just are not active.
Daisy.
It's a lovely name. Remember, a house is not a home without a pet.
I totally forgot that they did that to him. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Because the whole time, the entire season, like, I'm wondering, like, okay, I know he gets imprisoned. Does he actually ever visit her? Does she actually ever visit him? Or anything like that? Like,
she does,
then...
off screen.
No, yeah. No, but I mean, I assume, yeah, it would be off screen. But I'm talking about, like, in prison. Does he ever see her?
Yeah.
And then, like, those times where she freaking went missing and all that and was FBI's most wanted or something like that.
Right.
I'm kind of wondering, like, dang, she might have missed out on a lot. But then, yeah, I'm seeing this now. I'm like, oh, okay. He's totally fine. Cool.
Yeah.
That you, the shield, have set in motion.
Like a ripple in the water.
You have no idea what's coming for them.
It'll grow and grow until it's a tidal wave.
It's already... It's over. I mean, you can't really keep it a secret at this point. Like, it's done. It's really horrifying how easily something like that can just spread.
Mm-hmm. But then also, too, the MCU had an in here where they could have brought in more superheroes.
Yeah.
They did nothing. Oh my gosh.
They didn't give a fuck.
Mm-hmm. And it's also just annoying because we went on a rant with what they did with Miss Marvel. Where we were like, okay, yeah, sure, Bangle's giving her powers, different from the comics, fine. Clearly, it's gonna set up Kang. At least we assumed it might have.
Yeah, that was a long time ago at this point.
Yeah. And then you get the whole, there's a mutation in your DNA. And we're like, the fuck is this?
And then, of course, the piece de la resistance.
Oh my god, what a way to end it. That's... I can't... I'm assuming that my reaction was just like, are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me?
Uh-huh. Yeah. You know what, you just reminded me of gosh. God, I hope he's okay. I haven't heard from him in a while, but like what's his name? Untold Reacts, I think. He was a YouTuber reactor, and he had been doing Shield, but he had some major health issues and he had to step away, and I don't remember him ever, being able to come back. I'm still waiting for that day to come because his reactions were incredible, honestly. Oh, and then he had health issues, and then he went through, I think he had a drinking problem too. It was bad.
No.
So that's what he says. I think his name is Harley. In fact, I'm gonna send you the link right now on Messenger so you can play it. Because it is genuinely funny. His reaction, not his, obviously his life issues, which is very unfortunate. And I think last I heard he was in a better place from his community page, but he has not uploaded.
She's smiling though. Ah! What?
He's just like, I don't like that. No.
Let's talk about it.
He downed, I don't know, a whole glass.
Even though I don't wanna. Well, nope. I gotta think about it. Oh, goodness. If Simmons is fucking dead, I think I'm actually pissed. Like, not mad at the writers, but I'm kind of mad. There's a high likelihood she's alive, because it was technically an off-screen death. We saw her get dragged away. It looked like Venom was eating her, but if he was like a stone color, I don't know. I don't know what that shit is, but looks like she got consumed. By all logic, if that is stone, she can't breathe in there, but it's also mystical, so I don't know. If she's actually fucking dead though, I'm kind of pissed, but I get it. It definitely got me. It was some good writing, but it just, man, you can't do that to me. 2 seasons of like, maybe she'll come around to Fitz, maybe, but you know, no harm if she doesn't. Maybe she'll come around to him, and then, oh, look, she's coming around to him, and oh no, she's fucking gone. What do you mean? Ridiculous, man.
But yeah, a couple of really interesting reactions. Yeah, God, I really do feel bad for him. Like, he was going through addiction withdrawals. He said he had like 4 kidney stones. Like, it was really bad. So I really am hopeful that he's okay. I'm hopeful one day he'll return. But like, he hasn't had a video out in 2 years. It's been a while. Anyway, on to Ami.
Nice.
Oh.
Smooth.
Well, you should come find me when you're finished here, and I'll start working on options to run by you.
Why do I feel nervous?
I'm sorry. It is a really fucked up tag. I mean, it just like...
Fuck you. Why?
No, I think Kyle was screaming "fuck you" to the TV screen. I think. Oh my god!
What the fuck? That's so evil. Man, the way that was playing out, the way we left them, I was wholeheartedly ready to jump out of my chair and celebrate, and instead they kneecapped me. What the fuck? I almost, my heart sank into my stomach, dude. I almost fucking vomited. Oh my god. We can get her back, right? That all this Kree shit has killed literally everything else it's touched. There's no way. I refuse. I refuse to believe Simmons is gone. But what's he gonna think? I mean, obviously they're gonna... Shit. Fuck. That pisses me off. That's good TV, man, but it pisses me off. This whole episode was just really fucking good. I don't even know really where to touch upon. I mean, let's talk about one of the most unexpected journeys we've had is this whole thing with Cal. From where he was introduced to his conclusion, wow, so tragic and such a twisting, winding road that was just thrilling to watch unfold. In these last couple of episodes, seeing him become vulnerable and open and all this stuff has just been, it's been such a heartbreaking thing to witness, but at the same time, there was these tinges of heartwarming as he's doing all of this for his daughter in the end. It's just such a bittersweet ending. He's been relieved of all of his trauma thanks to Tahiti. He gets to go back and maybe not practice on people, but he gets to be a vet. He gets to be in the community. He's not locked up in a prison. But what's crazy to me is I don't know if he knew this was what was going to happen to him. I don't know if he agreed to this. It seemed like he was more than prepared to be locked up, like in a prison. He expected visitations and stuff like that. I mean, if it was done against his will, that's one thing. If it was done with consent, that's a whole other thing. I would have to imagine he'd rather be in prison with the memories he's had of his daughter. But at the end of the day, this clean slate for him is probably the gift he probably would have never wished upon himself. I think he would have traded the pain for just the memories and moments he had with his daughter, but Now he's just free of all of that. Exercise. It's sad, but I mean, at the end of the day, he's happier. I have very strong mixed feelings about it. Mac coming back around, obviously, and like I harp on people, man. I do. It's part of the show. It's part of the fun. And, you know, he was irritating me a lot because he was just, I don't know. I feel like a lot of his reasoning, while understandable, was still irrational. You know, I understand where he's coming from, but the way he's going about it seems irrational to me. There's a difference between not liking something and understanding it. You know, I understand where May is coming from when she makes these decisions. I don't have to like when she's being unnecessarily cruel or rude to people because she's pissed off. Like, she's unloading her frustrations onto other people. Like, she said some things and done some things and has been acting very erratic, and I understand why she doesn't justify the shit they dish out to the people around them. I know people have their favorite characters. I love May to death. I do. And I just saw some people getting a little defensive, and I just feel like there's either some blinding going on here or something. I don't know. But hey, I'm not going to sugarcoat how I feel, how I act, or any of that for whatever reason or another. But Mac, though, he rose above it in the desperation and the direness of the situation, came together, freed Sky. I mean, despite it all, you know, he was very fearful of her. And he was like, hey, I don't need your powers. I need your hacking skills. But he still freed her. Like, it shows that while he doesn't like all this stuff, he is cautious about it, that he's willing to at least compromise in this situation. And then Lincoln being talked around into this and seeing the fallacies and the contradictions and the wrong in what is happening here on this carrier, you know, confronting Sky and then realizing what's going on and coming around and helping them through the rest of the mission, him teaming up with May. All of that was so fun. And just, I like seeing these little beats because, again, not everybody there was bad. You know, it's like he said, we're not bad. We're just misled. We were misinformed. We were lied to. You know, you can't blame all of us. You know, it's not like they orchestrated everything. That was Jiaying, that was Gordon, that was everybody else who, you know, played with their own. The lengths that Jiaying was going to because of her hatred, because of her trauma. And again, I get where she's coming from. I understand it. But genocide, no matter how you look at it, is wrong. Who'd have thunk? Well, she tried to sugarcoat it in this way where she was like, I only kill the people that are getting in our way, when what she was about to do was anything but that. You know, she was literally drawing people out here into a trap. You know, she killed unarmed people. Like, she's like literal war crimes she's committing right here, man. And like, I don't know, like her trauma has become a sole part of her being to the point where I don't know that there was any coming back for her. I mean, quite clearly, I don't think there was any coming back for her. If there was, I think Daisy could have reached her. I think Cal could have reached her. Even Cal, after everything, had to be the one to take that into his own hands, you know, sparing Daisy the need to do that herself. And she was going to do it. They were going to kill each other at that point. It's just how far things have fallen, how much Sky is willing to do the right thing and how much she was willing to burn everything to the ground and eliminate any and all threats, regardless of whether or not that threat even exists. And there is a threat. You know, there is people that are not going to be okay with that. Otherwise, Coulson wouldn't be like, we got to do this anonymously. People are fearful of the things that they don't understand, could definitely be ill-received, but not by everybody, much like with them. At the end of the day, she was going about it the wrong way. Like, was she valid in her fears? Yes. Was her tactic sound? No. Definitely could not get behind that at all, especially when she started sacrificing her own people for this perceived war that she was trying to generate. I love seeing the effort that everybody went through, and you know, through this, coming back to Mac again, being able to work with Coulson, and it was like, hey, it's a fair trade-off. He took off my hand, he kept me from statufying, and again, I still got a strong question about that. Would he have cocooned? Because we know that he's got that Kree DNA. He just wasn't born with it, but he has it. Would he have cocooned and gotten powers had that thing covered and encased his body? I hate that we wouldn't have known, but I would have been more upset if he died. So I'd rather not know than lose Coulson. That fake out with Fitz in the pipe? Oh my God, that scared me. when it was panning down, like I really started to think it was still Fitz. And I was like, man, that's really barely in his abdomen. And I thought it was just a bad makeup cover up. Like it was just, he's just holding it to the side, but we're still meant to think it impaled him. But no, camera kept going. And no, fucking Nightcrawler bamped right into killing himself. Good job, buddy. Good job. Ward, though, shocking me. Again, I love being wrong. I do like when I'm wrong because it keeps you on your toes. It keeps you guessing. It makes you drop your guard. No matter how certain I can be, I can always be wrong. And based on how he's reacting, because there's no one to influence. There's no one around he's putting it on a show for. He was genuinely upset that 33 died, and especially at his hand. Like, he was so happy. See how quick he was to kill May, though? Doesn't make him a good guy, but it just shows that he is capable of emotions that I honestly didn't expect. Like, he was genuinely mourning that, and in result, and you know, he was trying to use his Hydra connections to rebuild and establish things because he was like, I'm tired of working alone. I need a team, especially after having that taste of being back with the group. He was like, hey, good times, right? And he was trying to build that with her, I think. And now with her gone, I think he just wants to take charge and form his own unit. And he was doing that through his Hydra connections. I don't know if he is now planning on revitalizing Hydra itself or something altogether new. Because that one little thug that came in there and was like, hey, no, man, we got you, boss. You know, he did give Ward the Hail Hydra, so I don't know if they're reforming Hydra through their own little unit or if they're planning on setting themselves apart and not identifying with any of that. Regardless, Ward is after revenge now. That's the implication, at least that I got. The reason he's forming this team is to strike back. Because like he said, he wants to get closure. Bobby taking the bullet for Hunter and saving his ass. Again, like she's never been, like she's talked about, she's never been good at talking about her feelings and being open about who she is, but like through her actions, I think that shows, especially in that. And she's like, hey, after this, I think I'm done. I'm not going back. We'll see if that's true. I don't know. Does that mean Hunter's going to stay around? Is he still going to stay on the team, or is he also going to leave with her? Talking of leaving, May is also going to leave, seemingly getting a little close to her ex-husband. We're talking about some stuff. She put some sexy underwear in her getaway bag. Coulson talked about the night before. You know, they were going through the alcohol and they were talking, chatting and everything up. So maybe they're just trying to bring that back together, mend that bridge. Especially when that phone call, when she was in there as Bobby was on the operating table, she was talking about how, you know, she's so much that she wished she had said. That was shared between the two of them as well. Like they both had things that were left unspoken because of the way things fell apart. So are they starting to explore that? You know, Coulson's putting together all this other stuff. He's not, you know, he's talking about other options for his hand, but he's keeping it as a solid reminder of the consequences of everything that they've been playing around with. You know, and then putting Daisy in charge of this, you know, powered person unit of their team. And I'm wondering if they're going to recruit. I'm wondering if they're going to recruit Lincoln. And is this going to be a separate unit from the main squad? Damn it, man. How's this going to work, though, too? Because, well, fuck. I don't know what the power dynamic, the team dynamic is going to be where we're dividing people up like that. And then this thing that happened with Simmons, May being off, doing her own thing. Well, I mean, I assume there's like a time skip between season 2 and 3, and then they'll be back. But I don't know what the dynamic's going to be like. But then again, coming from season 1 to season 2, there was a huge dynamic shift. That was like a whole thing in the first, you know, couple episodes. The first little pocket of season 2 was what was different about them, the lack of intimacy, the lack of them being this tight-knit unit like they used to be, when now they are the ones having to be in charge and taking on all these other responsibilities. You know, we're seeing each season kind of get its own rebranding and this shuffling of these character relationships and dynamics. I absolutely loved this season, loved this episode. This show is fucking amazing.
You can stop there, and obviously we agree. I think basically, great episode, great season. And gosh, thoughts, David, before I read some of the reviews, and we have a couple to get through, as a matter of fact.
When he brought up, you know, if Cal knew or not that's what they were gonna do, give him the Tahiti project and all of that. I never really thought of that. Like whether that is okay to do to wipe his memory.
I
or
do
something.
think though he approved it. I do think though, because he said, I think specifically, I know I'm going away for good.
But
now,
that could
I think
still mean
in the moment, it could still mean that, but I feel like the intent was, that's a misnomer. As you're watching the scene in the episode when he says, I know I'm going away for good, I think as audience members, when we see that scene, we're led to believe, oh, he's going to go to jail. And of course the reveal was, no, it ends up being that he got Tahiti, basically. Maybe it is an open question, but I get the sense he had to approve it. Like, I'm sure Coulson offered him the opportunity. Like, because remember, he extended that same thing to Ward earlier in the season, where it was like, here, I can give you a second chance. I'll put you through the Tahiti protocol, right? So it's like, that way it's less of like, well, I'm just going to change who you are without you having a choice here. No, I'm giving you the option if this is what you want to do. And I feel like this is how I interpret it, which is because Coulson knows what kind of an ordeal that can be. I feel like what changed about him being okay with putting others through that was earlier on in the season, he ends up meeting a former agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. who, I think he had cancer or something, and then or some disease, or he was basically going to die, but then they put him through Tahiti, and at first the drug was not working, but then they replaced their memories, and then he ended up having a whole new life. He had a family afterward, and I think that changed Coulson's mind a little bit, and like maybe it can do some good for some people, because before he was so gung-ho about like not allowing anybody else to suffer the way that he did. And I think the procedure and how he's handling it varies slightly, in which there's minimal suffering as possible. But because we do see Coulson present the idea to Ward earlier, I think we can gleam in that off screen he did the very same thing with Cal, which is like, look, this is what we can do. And I feel like he would have to have agreed to that, as well as Daisy. And if there is any reason for why it's not 100% clear in the last scene we have between the two of them before his memories get changed, is because where it's placed in the episode, it's all for the sake of keeping that reveal intact until it plays in the next couple of, I think, minutes. So that's how I see it. But to my knowledge, I'm not sure if it's ever confirmed one way or the other. If the option was presented to him, I would say I verge on the side of yes. And next week, I need to dig up, because I remember that at the end of the seasons, the creatives did do a season review, and maybe this was a question that was asked. Regardless, whatever they were asked would be interesting to like read through what it was. But it's interesting. But anyway, sorry, you were gonna say.
Well, I do think Coulson would have brought up the option to him. I don't believe Cal would have agreed. I don't think you want to lose his memories of Sky. Now, if Sky was there and told him, hey, this is kind of the best option, maybe she would have convinced him. But I don't know about that. Either way, though, even if, like, let's say he didn't agree to it, I wouldn't mind it myself, only because they know. I would assume that this is their thought process, but like they know that deep it down, Cal is a good man and would actually be like a good benefit to society. And to just do this, and besides, because he's so like unhinged, keeping him locked up could be risky. But then also, again, he's a good man. He deserves to get some form of second chance, and this is kind of the best bet. So I think either or, you can make some kind of sense of it, but it's a bit of a leap either way.
Right. Looking at some of the comments that I found hilarious. First of all, in Ami's video, the top liked comment was the first one by Nick is Rad. When Ami is like, "Why do I feel nervous?" and then evil laughter ensues, which is the moment that we just watched. And then some of the Reddit comments, and I thought this was hilarious. Ed Peg Jr. Coulson is back to leading S.H.I.E.L.D. single-handedly. Which, can we just acknowledge how we went through all of that, and then fucking Jiaying and the Inhumans come in here, and she completely just eliminates all of the opposition. Like, it's...
That's true.
That's really funny. And it's funny how the show never like takes a moment to acknowledge that. But it's oh my god, that's really funny. The only one that would be left would be Agent Weaver, but yeah. Let me see here. Everyone's like, oh, "Science, biatch." That's an amazing line. Come on. Let me see here. Let's go ahead and go over to Eric Goldman at IGN. S.H.I.E.L.D.'s 2 hour season 2 finale was a huge one, with several notable deaths, character transformations, and new dynamics set in motion. So we're getting Secret Warriors, huh? Or at least something akin to them, as Coulson is forming a new superpowered team with Skye at the center. It's a big move for S.H.I.E.L.D. to make, essentially indicating they have decided, yeah, it's time to put a lot more superheroes in the show. The question is how much this will take over completely. S.H.I.E.L.D. was originally pitched about normal people in a world of superheroes, but it looks like we might be getting some new characters in Season 2 fighting for screen time with our core group. Lincoln seems to be an obvious candidate, huh? But that's a problem to be solved in the future, and that is certainly an exciting change. In the meantime, a ton of other big events occurred. I have to hand it to the S.H.I.E.L.D. producers for resisting the temptation to redeem Ward, because wow, he was all in on his evilness here. His torture of Bobby was pretty graphic and horrible, and from his plan to have whichever S.H.I.E.L.D. agent walk through the door be shot and killed trying to rescue her, to his own attempt to shoot May point blank, not realizing he had the wrong person. It was obvious any image he'd put up of reconciliation with his old team recently was just an act. And it really was. We are reaching the point where I wondered if keeping Ward in play at all for another season is questionable, and if maybe it's time to wrap this character up. Obviously, the idea is to give him a big new storyline as he looks to take over as the leader of Hydra's remnants. So we'll see if that new role is a good fit going forward and gives him more of a specific purpose, as it looks like it could. I'm a bit sad to see Raina go. I always found her an intriguing presence, but it was a nice send-off for her. Obviously, there was a lot of meaning when she told Skye she'd never speak again with her, as she went to what she basically knew was her death. But with it, the crucial moment of opening Skye's eyes to what her mother really was. That, too, was a really nice touch. The idea that Jiaying was the greatest monster villain, albeit a very damaged woman, between her and Cal could just mask it better behind her calm demeanor versus his clearly fractured psyche. Kyle MacLachlan was one was once more terrific as he both showed his psycho side and the loving husband and father battling within him. He was so good that I'll try to overlook that when he finally Mr. Hyde out, it was, well, pretty goofy. There was just something about McLaughlin and that makeup and wig running around that didn't sell as menacing. But it did lead up to a great moment when he grabbed Coulson by the throat and yelled, "Please let me help you." And it worked very well to have Kel be the one to stop Jiaying by killing her and playing it as the tragic moment it was for him. And speaking of Jiaying, it was also cool/creepy to reveal that her powers weren't simply as she healed, but that she was a vampire of sorts who killed others to keep herself alive, something Skye nearly experienced for herself. Coulson giving Cal a happy/melancholy ending with a new identity and memories was a stretch, though. This guy did, by his own admission, murder a ton of innocent people after all. Even if he regretted it and did it out of love for Jiaying, shouldn't he actually be punished for his crimes? I get that it's a sad thing for Skye and that he doesn't remember her, and sad in the grand scheme for him, but he's still just living a happy life, unaware of anything else. That aside, there were some appreciated and notable consequences in this episode. Yes, the regular characters survived, but there were several notable deaths, as Reyna, Kara, Gordon, and Jiaying were all killed. As the series bid farewell to Ruth Negga, Maya Stojan, Deacon Lockman, and Jamie Harris, all of whom did strong work and will be missed. And while they all survived, several of the main characters came out changed, as Bobby took the bullet meant for Hunter, and Coulson's hand was chopped off by Mac to save him from the Terrigen Mist. And then, of course, there's whatever the hell happened to Simmons at the end. May, in the meantime, got a change for the better as she began to regain some of who she once was, taking some time off for a romantic reunion with Andrew, even if she couldn't resist taking her gun just in case, in a nice, appropriate touch for the character. And there's the Terrigen Mist, which is now being mass distributed, even if no one knows it, and very likely will be the cause of plenty more powers being activated in S.H.I.E.L.D. and the MCU in general. About that, which is amusing way to up the number of superheroes and villains in an efficient manner. The action in S.O.S. was really strong throughout. May's fight with Skye was really fun, with May beginning the confrontation essentially one-handed, showing that as good as Skye is now, May is that much better. Except she doesn't have superpowers, unfortunately for her. The fight was outdone, though, by Bobby versus Ward, which gave us two highly trained agents truly unleashing on each other and allowed Bobby to really shine, as she valiantly kept fighting even when Kara got involved, too, making the odds decidedly uneven. Other highlights include Skye's big fight with the Inhuman woman, capable of making duplicates of herself. I think her name is Alicia. And Coulson, Mac, and Fitz fighting the Gordon as he teleported over and over again. You could also feel the S.H.I.E.L.D. team really stepping up their game here to make this an event, and it worked. And Skye's fight, like Bobby's against Ward and Kara, played fair by showing she was awesome, but she couldn't overcome unfair odds on her own. Oh, and it may not have been true given how things played out, but Mac got the most badass line of the finale with, "I'm the guy that kills Gordon." Though I suppose some will argue for Fitz's "science biatch" line, which was pretty great too. Yeah, great. He gave this episode, both of these episodes, 9.4, amazing. Let's look at Oliver Sava at the AV Club. Let's see. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. became a better show in season 2, but it still struggles to be great television. The cast has started to gel into a cohesive ensemble, the plots have a larger impact on the greater MCU, and the action has become much more engaging. But it has difficulty with balancing fantastic genre elements with grounded emotional storytelling. S.O.S. is a prime example of this, rushing through the character work in order to spend more time on the big sweeping plot developments. Rushing through the character work was the whole season.
Yeah. That's what you do in a TV show. You set it up so that at the very end, you just kind of like, hit the audience with everything you just did and build up to something. So.
It's very bizarre. He's a very interesting person, this Oliver Sava.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's like, sometimes you really have to add, are we watching the same show? It's like what it feels like sometimes. Him saying, the major thrust of this episode of Jia Ying's war with S.H.I.E.L.D., which has considerable consequences of the newly formed family dynamic between Jia Ying, Sky, and Cal, but these consequences aren't explored as deeply as they could be. Okay. At the start of S.O.S., Sky is caught between S.H.I.E.L.D. and the Inhumans and decides to side with her mother. That internal conflict of allegiances gets a bit of attention, but writer Jeffrey Bell has a shortcut to get Sky back to S.H.I.E.L.D. in the form of Reyna, who tells Sky about Jia Ying's true intentions. I've expressed my dislike of Reyna's visions as a convenient plot device, so I can't say I'm entirely disappointed that she's killed off in this episode. If her cool-looking character is only going to serve as an oracle instead of playing a more active part in the narrative, then I'd rather see her leave the series and force the writers to advance the story without handy precognition. Damn. It's like, basically saying, well, it's been nice knowing you, Reyna. Okay. Let's see here. The rest of it, so Jia Ying switches into evil mastermind mode very quickly, and Deechin Luckman doesn't go far enough in her performance to make Jia Ying a convincing villain. Okay. Comic Luckman has become one of the show's most captivating characters by really committing to his character's dual personality, and Luckman should have followed his influence and played up the more monster inside Jia Ying. Jia Ying wants to unleash the Terrigen crystals on the rest of the world, and she almost gets away with it before Cal snaps her neck and breaks her back. In the grand scheme of Marvel villains, Cal and Jia Ying have gotten a lot more development than pretty much any of the bad guys in the Marvel films. And hold your breath for that one. Don't hold your breath on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Who rarely have any significant personal relationships. Okay. ABC canned its Bobby and Lance spinoff because it renewed S.H.I.E.L.D. for another season and feels those characters are more valuable on this series, which is absolutely the correct decision. So this is in reference to Marvel's Most Wanted. I guess this idea was like in the works during season 2 and they didn't follow through with it, but then they ended up doing it. But then they ended up not wanting to do it, which is a frustrating part of this show, because it kind of like the indecision behind the scenes at ABC basically forced two great characters off the show. So that's a preview for next year. The finale's best action sequence comes in part 1 with Bobby breaks loose from her restraints, stabs Ward with his needles. It's a brutal showdown that becomes even more intense when Kara jumps in. Yeah, it's a big one. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is the most romance-heavy property in the MCU. It's funny how S.H.I.E.L.D. seems to be the most heavy everything.
Yeah, it's like they have
in the
time
MCU
to do most of these stuff, you know? Kind of like with the other Netflix shows, too.
And yet, while this was happening, everybody was like, S.H.I.E.L.D. Get that black sheep bullshit over there. Who? S.H.I.E.L.D. who? The movies are way better. As he was saying, the romantic love plays a huge part in this week's episode. Ward's love for Kara motivates him to torture Bobby, in hopes that that's not where I would go first, but okay. In hopes that she'll give Kara the closure she desperately wants. Cal's love for Jiaying allows him to be used as a pawn in her war, a gift horse that goes wild and keeps Coulson and his team occupied while Jiaying and a small team of Inhumans take the SHIELD aircraft carrier. Hunter's love for Bobby forces him to track her down in the middle of the Inhumans' mess, and Bobby's love for Hunter pushes her to take a bullet in her shoulder to protect him from Ward's booby trap. Lincoln has a change of heart in the heat of battle, likely influenced by his burgeoning romantic feelings for Skye. Having those connections helps elevate the stakes of the story, even if they aren't the primary focus. And romance plays into two of the bigger developments at the very end of the episode. First, May leaves active duty, seemingly to spend time with her ex-husband, Andrew. It feels like a natural endpoint to Agent May's story, but considering all the strong work done to May's character this season, I'm hoping Ming-Na Wen sticks around for another season. There's also some major forward movement on the Fitzsimmons front, as Simmons reveals that she's started to develop romantic feelings for her lab partner, getting the audience's hopes up before the cliffhanger throws the couple's future in question by having Simmons get sucked into the liquid stone alien artifact. S.O.S. sets up season 3 that will likely feature many more superpowered characters, with Coulson putting Skye in charge of forming a new covert team of enhanced people, which sounds like Secret Warriors. It may be quite a few, because this finale opens up a big can of worms by releasing Terrigen into the environment. A crate of Terrigen crystals lands in the ocean and starts contaminating the nearby fish, which are swept up by fishermen and processed into fish oil that is sold on shelves, leading to a shot of fish oil that is supposed to be ominous, but comes across as hilarious. I think it's both. Let's see here. So he brings up some questions about, is fish oil the only way to be exposed to the Terrigen? And then he says, limiting the exposure of Terrigen to just fish oil is very restrictive. And if that's the case, are all the new Inhumans going to be transformed health nuts? No matter the specifics, I hope the writers of this series have been watching The Flash, which has set the bar high in terms of depicting super-powered characters on television. With a surge of superpowered beings on the horizon, S.H.I.E.L.D. shouldn't be afraid to have some fun with this new climate. But most importantly, it shouldn't lose sight of character development as it goes to work expanding the enhanced population of the MCU. Interesting.
I was actually kind of thinking of that too. I'm like, fish oil only? Like, what are the chances that, someone eats a fish taco and it somehow becomes an Inhuman or something?
That happens.
Wait, does?
Well, not necessarily fish taco, but Yo-Yo. She was having caldo de pescado.
Oh, okay. Never mind. There you go. You answered my question. Never mind.
Yeah, so it wouldn't just be obviously like fish oil pills, but I feel like as long as it's in the avenue of fish.
Mm-hmm. I do remember though that like whenever they would find someone that transformed, they always had a fish oil in it. So I'm like, yeah, it's kind of restrictive, isn't it? But okay, yeah. But you answered my question too. It's like, okay, so it's more than just fish oil that it does happen.
Yeah,
that's funny.
I feel it's still restrictive to, I guess, fish. Or I guess marine life of some kind that are then like processed into like food. I do feel though that by design it is restrictive because I don't think the writers of the show wanted the whole population to turn.
No, yeah.
They just wanted some people because they don't have the money to do that, first of all.
No, yeah.
And then second of all, it doesn't work for a story purpose, but
no, I it's restrictive, but it gives them full control.
Right.
Because like it can't do the whole monster of the week type of thing. It's like, oh, okay, this week we're gonna deal with this superpowered person or something like that, or maybe you know every other week they deal with the superpowered person. But then also it helps them though kind of figure out, okay, who can we use, who can we not use. We can use this person, great. We can put them on this episode, and then we can go from there or something. And it also helps them just put in as many as they want, basically, and not make it seem coincidental that this person, all these people come out at the same time. You know, like they mentioned the Flash. It was all people got superpowers because of some super collider and all that, and so now all the villains that are in the Flash comics, they have superpowers and all that, and it all came from one moment. Whereas with this one, it's not from just one moment. It's like, well, it's from this moment, obviously, but they can scatter them out whenever they want. Whereas with the Flash, they're always there, and they've always been there. They just happen to be using their powers now in this very moment. It's kind of coincidental in a sense.
Right. And then it doesn't always stay this way, because by the time we get to season... even in season 3, by the end of season 3, they bring in Dr. Radcliffe, and they're able to kind of like... By the time that we get to season 4, when Radcliffe is working with the Superior and the Watchdogs and Nadir, he reveals that he's been able to, through working with Hive, create basically from scratch his own Terrigen crystals, but the kind of crystals that would be harmless to humans, but would only be able to turn potential inhumans. So by the time that we get to season 4, they have the means, the know-how for how to basically expose or transform inhumans that are not dependent completely on it being related to fish. Because then that technology is then obviously used in season 5, now that I'm thinking about it, because Cassius basically is using that. I guess he has his own Terrigen crystals too. Yeah, they do. They do have their own Terrigen crystals, as a matter of fact. So it all goes back over there. Let me see here. Stray observations. The makeup for Mr. Hyde was pretty rough. The prosthetic forehead looks awkward, and it's not necessary because McLaughlin does a good enough job bringing the monster inside of Cal out without any cosmetic changes, I should say. Let's see here. There's a piece that Ward doesn't understand. When I find him, I'm going to kill him. That's May, of course. And then Coulson, tell me you figured out what drugs Cal took, because my gut's saying everything ever made. And then this line, Ward, I'm helping her heal from wounds you inflicted. And then Bobby, then take her to Hawaii.
That's
and
good.
Then Cal, there goes the feeling in my legs. And then, of course, science biatch.
Yeah.
So, yeah. David, as we bring a close to today, any lingering thoughts for the episode?
Yeah, the first reviewer, they mentioned, isn't Cal getting off like easy, erasing his memories and all that? Kind of. Like, yes. I think the obvious answer is yes. The thing though is compare him to Whitehall. Where
compare him to any other Hydra character.
Like, yeah, any other villain, where let's say they give this to Whitehall and all. The thing is, the big question is, okay, what is he going to bring into any community if you do this? Like, do you really believe he'll make something better of it. Because like what I mentioned before, it's like deep down, Cal is a good man. And even though you can say like, no, lock him up, throw away the key for what he did, which is understandable, he still felt he was still manipulated. He felt like he had no choice in this matter. I mean, ultimately, in the end, I understand with Coulson that he feels sympathetic towards him, and I think really any one of us too, who watches this show and kind of can feel sympathy for him. We don't feel sympathy for fucking Whitehall, you know.
No.
Like I mentioned before, it's like I felt kind of disgusted by the fact that he like spent so much time locked up and he didn't change at all. Okay, like I mean, yeah, Whitehall's the perfect example.
Like
of
a
this.
true Nazi, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Whitehall is the perfect example of this. Like he was locked up for decades and decades, and the minute he gets out, gets a chance to go back on his own ways, and he does it. And he literally fucking tortured a woman, made her go insane. Sure, Cal did some horrific things too and all that, but I think you lock him up for a few decades. Yeah, I mean, he already regrets his actions the second he realizes, like, okay, he's gone too far. It's just there's no comparison between the two with Cal and Whitehall. Like, if someone deserves some kind of second chance, it is Cal, no matter what he did. I hope that makes any sense.
Honestly, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And especially compared to Ward, because Ward also got that deal. Although, to be frank with you, I think Coulson offered him that deal out of necessity, not because he thought he deserved a second chance.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if... I feel like somewhere along the way, it's going to come up in conversation. Why wasn't J. August Richards a bigger part of the show? The actor that plays Mike Peterson. Because he comes in and out, but he's not like a main cast member. And I feel like the obvious answer is, well, he's too powerful. I think maybe. Or, right? As like as Deathlock? Is that why? Because he usually is like...
Oh, okay.
This show treats him as the Eagles in Lord of the Rings, I think, sometimes.
Yeah.
Where he comes in and he saves the day. And it's a fun moment when that happens. But I do feel like he's one of those characters that would have been nice to get a lot more from. I think, to me, there's a lot of really fun side characters that I think it would have been fun to see a little bit from, especially in that last season. But of course, I understand they were wanting to focus all of their time with the main characters, alongside the fact that there was money that was literally being like set on fire, especially with the extravagant, by their standards, I should say, sets and costumes with that season. So yeah.
But then also too, it's like this show is about normal people having to deal with superpowered stuff or powerful stuff going on around us. Mike doesn't really fit that part of it, and we don't know what he's doing. You know, that's kind of like saying, oh, why don't these Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. just keep calling Captain America or something? It's like he has other more important things to do. And you can say the same thing with Mike Peterson.
When the real answer is, Kevin Feige won't let me.
Yeah, yeah, that's true also.
Yeah, some would say, and I'm sure the minute you said that, but what about Daisy? Which, well, she was a normal person, and I think she would still count, but then she also got these powers, and then she became a superhero, and then the destroyer of worlds, and this here and that there. But yeah, I mean, not every main character is a powered person. I mean, literally, it's just her, and then Yo-Yo, like, later on. So, there's that. But despite the fact that Yo-Yo or Daisy like have powers or not, they still feel like grounded people. And I think that's really the reality of like what the show is supposed to be.
Yeah.
Despite that, and it's still capturing the experiences of what happens to real grounded people when they come into powers. And so we'll see. Season 3 is interesting when we get into it. I feel like I don't know. I don't think season 3 has the same love as season 2, but I feel overall it might be better than season 2. But season 3 doesn't have. I think what season 2 has going for it is like just season 2 exploded like the potential universe of this show. It blew it wide open with Inhumans, and then of course Jiang and Cal, like 2 great additions to the cast, and so it's kind of hard to top that. So it's when you're thinking about like what's like your favorite season, we'll see. Do you think much about season 3? Does much come to mind when you think about season 3, or you're not really sure if it's exactly season 3?
Does season 3 have the one with the EMP episode where they're like...
No.
Really? No. Dang.
That was 4. That was 4.
Dang, it's just 4 and above.
That was a really good episode, by the way.
That's a really good episode. I'm so excited for it.
Of an already great season, but yeah, that was 4. That was not 3.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you might need a refresher on that one as well, which is totally fine, which is why we're doing the show in the first place. So, okay, I think we're going to go ahead and close it out there. Thank you, David, and thank all of you who are watching. And if you want to leave any comments about anything and everything that we were saying, or of the people who we were reading or watching, well, you know where to go. Thank you so much, and we'll catch you next time, next week. Again, as I mentioned before, it'll be like a season 2 overall recap. And then eventually we will get to season 3. Thank you all so much, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.